Welcome to the Deep Dive Books channel, where we hope you find something valuable every day.
How strict should we be in disciplining children? Being too strict can lead to internal conflict, while being too lenient risks spoiling them. Some suggest a balance of strict father and kind mother, while others say boys should be raised in hardship and girls in comfort. Is there validity in these views? Recently, a film about parenting depicted parents creating a Truman Show-like immersive environment of poverty to toughen their son's character. In the end, the child didn't appreciate it, and the parents felt wronged. Did you think we controlled your life? You controlled ours. Is raising a child merely a process of mutual manipulation? Beyond discipline, there is another dimension. Support. Not controlling a child doesn't mean indulging them. The correct approach to parenting isn't a secret. Extensive research exists on this. In July 2024, a meta-analysis was published, examining 238 studies from 38 countries, with a total sample size of 126,000 participants, comparing two parenting styles. Let's discuss this. The findings provide a solid answer. One parenting method is correct, and the other is incorrect. The incorrect method is strict control. While physical punishment is rare today, many families resort to verbal manipulation, known academically as psychological control. This style often involves punishment, threats, and humiliation. Some parents resort to emotional manipulation. Look at all I've sacrificed for you, why won't you listen? This creates guilt. Others employ love withdrawal. If you misbehave, we won't love you anymore. Research shows that psychological control harms children. Whether in mental health or academic performance, this approach leads to negative outcomes, causing anxiety and depression, and diminishing motivation. If you think strict discipline will create a resilient child, you are mistaken. It pushes them in the opposite direction. But you might wonder, how do some children from strict families excel academically? They might be lucky or resilient, but this can lead to issues later in life, as they miss out on a happy childhood. The correct parenting method is called autonomy support. This approach respects children's needs and interests, values their independence, and encourages them to make decisions without coercion. When issues arise, parents should explain them to the child. Studies indicate that autonomy support is positively correlated with children's mental health, academic performance, and happiness in adulthood. Moreover, this result holds true across cultures. American and Russian high school students, raised in autonomy-supportive families report higher life satisfaction and motivation. Chinese adolescents receiving autonomy support adapt better to school and develop higher self-esteem. Research shows that, regardless of whether you're Indian, Nigerian, or Korean, autonomy support benefits children. Thus, it's clear that both adults and children appreciate autonomy and support. As discussed before, research consistently shows that abusive management, like psychological control, is ineffective and detrimental. The notion that future happiness requires current suffering is a form of pathological masochism. Why is autonomy support so effective? Because it aligns with human nature. In the 1980s, psychologists Edward L. Deci and Richard Ryan proposed the self-determination theory, which posits that all individuals, regardless of age, have three fundamental psychological needs. First is autonomy, which means feeling in control and capable of making choices, rather than always following others. Second is competence, the belief that one can accomplish tasks and is capable of success. Third is relatedness, the feeling of being cared for and supported by others. The self-determination theory asserts that, when these three needs are met, an individual experiences greater happiness and better performance. This is not surprising. Autonomy support addresses these three needs by providing children with the necessary support. Regarding autonomy, children should be allowed to decide what they want to do. As long as it's safe, let them play what they want, learn what they choose, and when they express unconventional ideas, affirm them first before discussing further. This spontaneity and internal drive are invaluable. Of course, you can gradually increase their freedom based on age, but you must remain strategically patient. Even if you dislike a child's choice, support them in it. Allowing them to face challenges is beneficial. In terms of competence, when children face difficulties, encourage them to find solutions first. You can offer suggestions and guidance, but always explain why certain actions are necessary, helping them understand both the what and the why. To nurture competence, use informative rather than controlling language. For example, don't say, "Go to bed now." Instead, say, "Sleep is important for your health. When do you think is the best time to go to bed, so you feel refreshed in the morning?" Regarding relatedness, communicate with children, and strive to understand their feelings. Everyone feels misunderstood at times, and often, listening is a form of love. What seems outrageous to you may have valid reasons for them. Providing support is not difficult, but it significantly improves how children feel. In contrast, using psychological control leads to humiliation or emotional punishment when children err, resulting in either rebellion or submission. Submission causes discomfort for both child and parent. Rebellion creates mutual distress. The best outcome is simply fear-driven compliance, which isn't true growth. All research indicates that autonomy support leads to better grades, higher self-esteem, increased life satisfaction, greater motivation, reduced depression, enhanced skills, and more pro-social behaviors along with better family relationships. Why wouldn't we embrace this? A common misconception is that not strictly controlling children equates to spoiling them. Geneviève Mageau, a psychology professor at the University of Montreal, has a perspective on this. Mageau states that, while autonomy support requires relinquishing some control over children, it doesn't mean allowing them to do whatever they please. When children err, you should address it, but first, approach them with empathy and then explain. The key difference between support and indulgence is that support is about training a child's abilities, while indulgence means doing everything for them. Training involves challenges and feedback, rather than control. Autonomy support even involves selecting appropriately challenging tasks within the child's capability, allowing them to find solutions with your support. For example, with homework, neglect means you don't care whether the child does it. Indulgence means you do it for them. Autonomy support means allowing the child to complete the homework, with you available to answer questions if needed. As we've discussed in previous videos, effective training relies on suitable difficulty, adequate repetition, and immediate feedback. Training doesn't need emotional pressure. However, many parents engage in psychological control. Mageau observes that, when parents feel stressed, controlling children can provide a sense of relief. They do what they're told, which is comforting, but this harms the child in the long run. We can understand why some parents act this way. They might prevent children from playing outside for safety reasons. But if they prohibit safe games at home, it's likely due to a desire to maintain order. Consider this. When you control your child, how much of it is truly for their benefit, and how much is about your need for a tidy, controllable environment? Mageau also poses a thought-provoking question for parents. When your child obediently listens to you, it feels good. But when they grow up and interact with others, do you want them to obey those people as well? Do you wish for them to have their own values, or simply to follow others? Autonomy must be cultivated from an early age. Remember this term. Autonomy support. The best parenting method involves providing support to children, with the goal of fostering their independence. The notions of raising in hardship or comfort are flawed. Both fathers and mothers should offer autonomy support. In modern society, various roles require certification, yet two of the most important roles, leadership and parenting, often do not. Many individuals lacking leadership skills easily gain power, and anyone who has a child automatically becomes a parent. This is detrimental to both subordinates and children. As we've discussed, the two parenting methods, autonomy support and psychological control, have been extensively researched, with hundreds of studies available. Yet most parents remain unaware. I believe parents should receive basic training. Whether due to historical inertia or misconceptions, psychological control remains a prevalent parenting method. Parents who cannot manage their own emotions often try to control their children. However, you can end this cycle, in your generation.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.